Hello, Evan here. This video is going to be a help the world slash help yourself video, and it's also going to be an about me video. And also and also in a more general sense, this video is for those who feel lost and need some guidance, and those who feel good about their life direction and still want some guidance, and everyone in between. Also worth noting, I am autistic, and that affects the way I am able to communicate with you. Now then, Tenet 3, your feelings are your guide. And more specifically, I would say your feeling of your feelings is your guide to know what helps you, like what helps you to like give meaning um or specifically to give like a meaning to something slash anything in your life um that helps you. And it's funny because like whenever I say that, oftentimes oftentimes I'm not crying. I just have been recovering from an eye infection, and so I'm just doing what I need to do to take care of that. Just more so as an FYI, this video is not about an eye infection. This video is about my key to life. Um, yeah. So the thing is that like this gets the thing is that like this third tenet, like your feelings are your guide, or you're feeling your feelings are your guide, like essentially that sentiment, it gets a negative rise out of a lot of different people when I share it with them. And most of the time they don't, and most of the time they don't give me straight answers as to why this is the case. However, um, after over 25 years of experiencing this same sort of pattern, this same sort of dynamic, I've concluded this. People are afraid of their own feelings. And I feel that, and I'm sorry about the mic thing, if you heard that. Um, yeah, people are afraid of their own feelings, because, and I believe it's because, like we have never been taught how to actually be present with them to feel our feelings, and to let them be our guide. Again, I don't think that this is your fault. I don't think that this is my fault. I don't think this is anyone's fault per se. I don't think that it's a matter of like blame or like accusation, you know? Um, but here's what I've concluded in my own experience about like whether to feel my feelings and let them be my guide, um or to look at the next viable alternative, or the next like alternative, um or the next logical alternative, which is to get your answers instead of within, get them from without, get them from outside of you. To be, as Earl Nightingale calls people, an outer directed person. Um, yeah, and so it's like, yeah, and so I've found that so I've found that I have no positively viable choice but to feel my feelings. And the thing is that like I'm a very sensitive person in terms of everything, really. I'm just a very in tune person. It's like I can't shut stimuli out. Like that's something that a lot of autistic people have in common. Like a lot of us are a lot of us are hypersensitive. That being said, there are a lot of autistic people who are also hyposensitive too, in the sense that like there's a lot of stuff that there's a lot of sensory stimuli that they can't take in. However, either way, uh, uh, and in case you were wondering who I was looking down at, this is my trusty fire tablet, Monica. She's my script slash note source. For this awesome influencer work that I'm finally doing. 11-year-old me would be so proud. Um, but yeah, essentially, like because I feel so deeply, after a while, it got to where it was literally driving me mad to try to ignore the way that I was feeling or try to force myself to not ever feel. And so what I thought about was like the thing is that I was ignoring my feelings for so long that they basically became a tornado. I'm from Texas, by the way, so it's like I think of tornadoes. And so it basically became a tornado. It became a twister. Um, and the thing is that if you see like an actual twister, if you see a temporal, if you go outside and you see a supercell like starting to descend down from the sky and like turn into a tornado, please run from that tornado. I want you to keep living. However, if it's an emotional tornado, I think you can treat it a little differently. In the sense that the thing is that like you can't run outside of your mind, like as far as we know and as far as we've tried. And so the thing is that if it's an emotional tornado in your mind, I think it's better to actually run towards it. Certainly in my case, if you feel as deeply as I do, like eventually that tornado is going to turn into like an EF like 5 or something. And it's going to be like a super duper thing, and it's already going to destroy your house if you let it. But the thing is that like what I found is that I found whenever I started like running towards the tornado, like sure it sucked me up and I got like spun up in it, but the thing is that like I found that the tornado was just sort of like upset with me for ignoring like whatever emotion or emotions were like comprising that tornado. Um, and the thing is that what I found is that like once it spins you up and once you find that you actually live through that, like that you're still alive, essentially the tornado starts to dissipate because you're present with it and you're there, like you're present with your emotions to tie it back to like the emotional analogy. Like essentially, essentially you find that like that all that emotional turmoil eventually gives way to some guidance. And then from there, and specifically guidance about like what is best for you in your life. And so from there, you're put in a position to decide whether you want to follow your feelings. Like, and some people also consider this or call it uh, following your heart, or to follow something outside of you. It can be scary because your emotions are in a way upset with you for ignoring them. And again, it's like I don't want you to feel like you have to blame yourself for stuff like that, because the thing is that society the thing is like society doesn't teach us how to deal with our emotions. Like that's a big reason as to why I'm making this video, because I know that like it took me quite literally decades to figure this out. And it and it was difficult, but for me, and I just want to be able to help somebody else, if I can. even if it just means talking to a camera while I have an eye infection, or while I'm recovering from an eye infection, like just staring at my phone, Tenzin, and just speaking, and in effect, just speaking with you, and just like letting you know these things that I've learned in case they could help you too. These things that have helped me that, like in case they might actually be able to help you too. And it's like my mom says, it's like I never know if I don't try. It's like if you don't ask, you don't know. If you never try, then you never know. So I'm trying. It can be scary because your emotions are in a way upset with you for ignoring them, and if hey, um, and I will say this: if you can stick with them through that emotional intensity, they can help you to understand what you really want and guide you every step on the way to getting what you really want. And that's what I've learned slash am continuing to learn. In fact, I'm actually in the process of learning it now. Like being a YouTuber and like doing these things that like scared me for so long, but like now it's just like I'm in a like I have like regained the bravery to put myself out there in a positive way and just like and in just like an unedited, unfiltered, and just candid way. I just want to be real with you in the sense that like um and the only reason I want to be real with people is because I appreciate it when people are real with me. And so it's like it just and it helps me to believe again, it's like this ties like this ties into giving it a meaning that like helps you. It helps me to believe, it helps me to give um it helps me to believe that like in that sense, like in my insatiable hunger for authenticity, it's like it helps me to believe that I'm not like alone in that. I'm not that different from other people in that sense. It's like I'm different from other people in other senses, but like not in that sense. And so I'm hoping it helps you too. Um, yeah, and so like yeah, that's why I'm continuing to learn slash have begun to learn and all these different things and slash have kind of learned because I've learned it enough to where I'm like implementing it and it's starting to help me in different ways. And so yeah, at the end of the day, your feeling your feelings are your guide to knowing what meaning to assign to life that will help you the most, like what things will work for your greatest good. Because your deepest feelings, they don't ever lie. Like they may tell you something that you don't want to hear or that you are afraid to hear, but I found that at the end of the day, like if they're trying to tell you something, it's okay to listen, and it's actually really good to listen because you can gain some positive insight if you stick with it long enough. A lot of people in the Field of Fear and Do It Anyway community, they're like, essentially, it's like I picked up on the fact that that's not exactly what they're doing. Essentially, what they're doing is that they're like trying to feel the fear, but then they're getting overwhelmed because they don't have like tools or materials like or emotional faculties available to them that can help them to that can help them to to that can help them to that can help them to see that can help them I'm trying to get my train of thought back. A lot of people, when they try to feel the fear and do it anyway, essentially what happens is that like they're trying to feel the fear, but then they get overwhelmed because they don't have the emotional like tools to help themselves feel the fear and be present with that feeling, and to provide containment for it, long enough for it to show you a message, so that could actually help you to know what you want. And the thing is that people don't. The thing is, like, people don't feel and sit with their fear like long enough to get that guidance. And so what ends up happening is that they try to feel the fear, they get overwhelmed because they don't have the tools, and then they try to do it anyway, and they do it afraid. But the thing is, though, and the thing is, I encourage people to do stuff like even if they feel afraid. But the thing is that, like, there's a certain amount of fear that after it passes a certain threshold, it ceases to be useful to help you. And so the thing is that, like, you don't you can feel like fear, and it's okay to feel fear. It's like it's a common human emotion. But the thing is that, like, because we are so bad at dealing with our emotions as people, uh, 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 and as a society, essentially what we are seeing is that we can't really essentially what we're seeing is that we can't really, like, excuse me, I'm sorry if the mic, I'm sorry for my headphone and earphone gang if that was like intense for you. Again, it wasn't intentional. Either way, the thing is that um it's okay to be afraid of things. But the thing is that, like, there is such a thing as like too much fear and unchecked fear that leads to anxiety. And the thing is that when it comes to going for what you want, it's really important for you to understand that as human beings, as spiritual beings having a human experience, we shouldn't be afraid of going for what we want. Actually, correction. It's okay to be afraid to go for, hey, as spiritual beings having a human experience, it's okay to be afraid to go for what you want. It's okay to be afraid to go for what you want, especially the way that society is sort of socialized us and, like, oftentimes just straight up indoctrinated us into believing it's like you can't go for what you want, you can't get what you want. And so, like, that fear is valid, and that fear makes sense that it's there. It makes sense that that fear is there. However, like, you don't have to let that fear stop you. And if you take the time to feel like all the fearful feelings or just the fear itself, um, it's probably going to be upset for a while because we've been ignoring our fear. However, um, if you're brave enough to stay with it for long enough, essentially what you get is, I pause because my parents just came in. Like, I'm out having an adventure. But yeah, is that that at the end of the day, they but the thing is that at the end of the day, they if you're brave enough to, like, feel your fear for long enough and to sit through that intensity for a while, eventually what'll happen is that you'll find that the pit's not bottomless, and you'll find that there's actually a really important and, above all, helpful message to you specifically that helps you to understand exactly, like, where you need to go, like, from the place you're at now in order to get to where you want to be. And so yeah, that's basically it. I didn't want it to be this long. However, I'm glad I was able to get this point out in the best way that I can right now. Now, with that said, um, like I always say, if it helps you to believe this, then I invite you to believe it. Like, and specifically, I don't want you to just believe it, like, just to make me feel better. This isn't about me. This is about you. Like, this is, and technically, it's about us. It's like help the world slash yourself. Like, but like the thing is that like I want this message to be catered to you. Like, this isn't about like you doing something for me that I want you to do. It's like at the end of the day, I could care less what you want. Like, like, I could care less about like what stuff like I need people to do for me per se. Like, I really in this moment I want people to understand that like if it helps you to believe this, I invite you to believe it for yourself. And if it hurts you to believe this, like then please drop it and go find something else that feels better to believe. Um, Again, I'm not here to directly change your mind. Like I'm not here to like indoctrinate you in another way because I don't believe indoctrination is like the best way for a human being to learn how to understand the world, just in general. And so I'm not here to trade to trade one like addictive doctrine for another, in my mind or in your mind or just in the world in general. Um, I'm really just here to share what helps me in case it might help somebody else. I don't know. It's like I have a hunch that it might help people, but like, but it's like you never know. It's like you just decide what you want to do based on like feeling your feelings and what they and what they suggest you do. And if you choose to let that be your guide, then essentially what you find is that um, eventually they guide you towards doing stuff like this, towards it's helping yourself and helping the world in the best way that you yourself personally can. And your fear and your emotions don't know you. Wait, no, I'm sorry. Um, Other people can't know you quite as well as your emotions, both good, bad, and neutral, and positive and negative, and indifferent. Other people can't know you quite as well as your emotions do, like simply just by virtue of their not being exactly you. Um, yeah, and so it's like I'm not here to directly change your mind about anything. I'm just here to share what helps me in case it might help somebody else. Now, if you want to hear more, I have a great playlist for you where I go through all the things related to my keto life. And yeah, that's basically it. Thank you, Monica. Um, I'm not sure if I let you know, like, I'm not sure I dissociated uh, uh, during this video, and I just wanted to let you know, like, this is my trusty fire tablet, Monica. She's my note source and my script source for this work that I'm doing as an influencer. And yeah, yeah. Now her work is done, so give me a second. Thank you, Monica. So, um, yeah, that playlist. I'll put a link to it right here. And now it's time for me to give you my affirmations to you. I love you. Um, I think you're awesome. I am so glad you exist among us today. and I'll see you soon. Bye.